Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, it's been a long while. It'll be almost 10 months before we actually get to, suit up and compete. So it's been exciting to, have a goal for them, have something laid out after so much uncertainty. And, over the summer when there was still talks of potentially having a fall season, and then obviously the NSIC deciding that it wasn't safe to do so. It's finally nice to be able to say, hey, we have these meets on the schedule. We can talk about racing schedules with them. What events you're going to do, what goals we have for each individual, and it has gotten me excited as well because I haven't had those talks in such a long time. It's been very monotonous as far as like, hey, here's the training, here's the workouts. We're just going to keep going until the conference or the athletic department makes a decision about what we're doing. So I'm excited to get going. I think the hardest part was probably the mental side more so than the physical side. I think we have a lot of young men and women that, they work really hard day in and day out. They come to practice, give their best effort. But I think the mental side was probably the most challenging for us as a coaching staff because there were so many ups and downs. Like I said, in the fall, late summer into the fall, we thought, hey, there's still talks that we might have a cross-country season, and then obviously to wipe that away, that hurts, a lot of them, or no, all of them, as far as saying like, now it's totally off the table and we're not going to be competing until, after the new year. So I think just kind of keeping them positive, keeping them engaged. I think that's the big thing because it's easy to kind of stray off the path when there is, running and, track and field is so structured that all of a sudden this structure is kind of taken away. These goals are taken away. So just making sure that they're still in the right mindset so that, when it does come time to, compete and put on the singlet again, that we're ready to go. Yeah, I think it's going to help us a lot. I certainly, expanding into the sprints and jumps a little bit more, adding a few more quality throwers, I think it's going to help us a lot because at the end of the day, if you're going to place high as a team in track and field, you need some support from some of those other event groups. And so I think having a more diverse, more well-rounded team, having some depth that we haven't had since I started here is going to help us tremendously. So we're excited about, the young men and women that we added. We felt like it was a high caliber, high achieving level class, and we think some of those people that are here now that they'll be able to score or be able to have an impact right away for us. Yeah, certainly. Last year we had quite a few finish on the podium and a few kind of finished right off it. But the few that stand out to me are White Hanson. She had a fantastic freshman year, set multiple school records. She was all conference in cross country, the first person ever, men or women, to do that for us. So we're expecting a big track season from her. She's had some really good consistent training versus last year when she was a little injury nagged and we didn't quite get the consistency in that we were hoping for. Logan Krueger's returning. He was on the podium last year as well. So anytime you're on the podium, I think the expectation not only from our coaching staff but within that particular individual is they want to finish higher. They want to finish higher than they did the year before. Abby Mcgee, she's been on the podium the last 2 years for us. She's our school record holder in the mile, and she's had a tremendous fall as well. So I'm excited to kind of see where she finishes now that she's a senior, has a little bit more experience underneath her, heading into the conference championships and some of these bigger meets. Jacob Jensen, he returns for a sophomore year. He was just off the podium individually, but was on the podium for our relay at the NSIC championships last year. So he took a big step forward this summer, was running a lot of mileage, so it certainly showed in the fall. So we're hoping that carries over towards the indoor track seasons. We had a graduate transfer, Treston Mancias Finnerty from Northwood University. He was just off qualifying for the national championships last year. He's here. He was granted a 6th year of eligibility due to the COVID waivers. Another guy that we had join us at mid-semester is Cartero from England. He's run some really fast times as a junior athlete over in the UK. He's been great so far. He's only been here a couple days, but he's been adjusting well to North Dakota, Minot State, and certainly we feel like he can, another guy that can fit in those mid-distance events and do really well for us.
I know that everyone is just really excited to get out there, especially us distance runners that have been training since the end of indoor last year. And so just all of that training building up, we're just ready to get out and run. I think the biggest thing is just keeping everyone's mentality positive, because it's kind of redundant every single day doing the same thing without having a goal ahead of us, but finally having this goal to compete is going to be really good for our motivation. Well, last year we had Abby placing at conference individually, and I think that she definitely could do that again or place even higher than she did last year. We also have some freshmen coming up. Caitlin and Linda are both really hard workers, and I think they've done really well in our inner squads that we've done, so we'll see how they perform in a race, but I think that they'll do really well as well. I think it's going to be really good to have such a well-rounded team this year. It's really cool to have so many new people on the team, and it'll be a bigger program this year, which is exciting. Really, I just want to see my times always coming down, and so in cross-country season, we did some inner squads, and I saw my times coming down in the 5K when we were just doing racing each other. So I hope to see that in track season when I'm doing the 800 or the mile.
I think everyone's really excited to finally get out there again and get on a bus with the teammates and just go somewhere and compete against someone that isn't a Minot State Beaver. We've been practicing with ourselves and our teammates, whether it's football or any sport on campus, just kind of to get us away and go compete against a different school is going to mean a lot to us. I mean, for me, my overall goal is always just to improve every year, whether it's placing again at conference, getting to place it outdoor this year, and hopefully I have my eyes on the overall school record and shot, weight, hammer, whatever throwing event I'm in. That's my overall goal in whatever I do for track. Oh, Hunter for sure. Hunter's been with us now for 2 years. He's been kind of biting at my heels for say, because he gets the advantage over me where he gets to be with track all year round, where while I'm in football, he's working on throwing, so I have to try and catch back up and kind of knock the rust off a little bit. But I'd say Hunter for sure is gonna have a breakout year this year.